So, hello everyone, and welcome to this uh, online session that we conduct every weekend. Ask AuxEn Anything, and this is an online platform for civil and structural engineers to interact with us and ask their doubts or queries that they may have related to any RCC or steel design project or any construction site related issues or any design query as such. So, this is the 73rd such episode that we are conducting, and let us begin by taking the queries that have been put in the Google form. So first, I'll take the queries from the Google form and email, and then we will take the queries from live audience. So, first question is from engineer Mazhar Hussain. He is from Karachi and he is a working professional. So, he's saying, I'm working on flat slab system. Opening Opening flushing with columns are requirement of clients, and when I assign opening in drop panel, safe and E-tabs treated as an interior column, which is not right, as due to opening it should be edge column, and when I manually change punching overrides to edge location instead of interior, it shows not calculated. So question is, why software are not getting this behavior, as the code allows opening in intersection of column strips. No, the openings, to my knowledge, openings are not allowed at intersection of two column strips. If I remember correctly, ETABS does not. Sorry, the code does not want you to have the openings at intersection of two column strips. Here, if your opening is right near next to the column, basically you are in the intersection of two column strip territory. So I doubt if I need to check, but I doubt if it is allowed. Anyway, what you can do in such cases is, what is problem is, see that this is his column in plan, and let's say this is the drop panel, and there is an opening right next to it. Okay, this is the basically the configuration he's having. So now in such cases, what you can do, if this thing happens in safe software or ETAP software, that sometimes it is unable to understand what is the condition, and it may give you not calculated in the punching ratio. So first of all, what you can do, go to manual punching overrides. Go to punching overrides and go to assign perimeter, punching perimeter. Okay, that option you go to, and you give manually, you assign the perimeter. Okay, so in that you can take that 4D rule, I think 4D or 10D, whatever the rule is. I think it is now 10D or 4D. I need to check. Just hold on, I'll be back. Yeah, so you manually calculate the punching perimeter, okay, and then assign that perimeter in software. So you assign this perimeter, you calculate this perimeter. Maybe you can do it on a CAD software. This exercise, see how much of the perimeter is being lost due to that opening, and then you assign that perimeter in the software manually, and then check if it is able to do. I believe the software will then give you the punching ratios uh, with proper calculation. Okay, so this was his question. The next question is from engineer Sadharma Koot. He is from Belgavi, Karnataka. He is asking, can we design plate girders in StatPro with stiffeners? If yes, then how can we assign the stiffener or parameter? See, the stiffener design per se, you have to do on your own. By stiffener design, I mean that the calculations for the intermediate transverse stiffener, the calculation required for crippling, buckling, and all those things you need to do on your own. That will not be done in the software like STAT. But what you can do is take the effect of you can take the effect of stiffener uh, on the web shear calculation. Okay, web shear capacity calculation. So if your webs are not plastic and they are subjected to buckling, then the effect of stiffener can be incorporated. This you can do in the software. There are two parameters in STAT software, NST and NSP. So in one you can define the spacing, and in the other you can define the presence of transverse stiffener. So using these two parameters available in STAT, you can define the locations of stiffener, and accordingly, what will STAT do? STAT will then calculate the capacity for shear. Okay, all right. So this was his question. Next question is from engineer Parambir Singh. He is a working professional from Hyderabad. Uh, so he is asking, while defining frame sections for column size 450 300 and providing steel only on two opposite faces using 16 bars, 10 numbers, the AST required comes out to be 2548 square. So what he is saying is that this is his column, and I hope the screen is visible and my voice is also audible. Can someone just confirm? And on two faces he seems to have provided such type of a bar arrangement. So these are 16 dia sorry 16 dia, 10 number of bars. Okay, so when he gives this arrangement, his AST required comes out to be 2548 square. This is the AST required, and when he changes this arrangement to 12 numbers, the requirement AST also changes. This is interesting. So his question is why this thing is happening. That can someone answer in the audience why this is happening? Why, if the bar arrangement is being changed, the AST required is being changed in the ETABs? Because AST required should be the whatever AST is required. How come it is changing because of the bar arrangement? Tell me. Anyone would like to answer? So the reason for this is the reason why this is happening, that when you are changing the bar arrangement in ETABs, the AST required is also changing. The reason is that because what ETABS does is that ETABS designs the columns, or for that matter any software, how it will design the column based on the PM interaction curve, and for each reinforcement arrangement there will be a slightly different PM interaction curve. So for different reinforcement arrangement, there will be a different PM curve that you get. Okay, so it is what is happening is basically that, let's say this is case 1 and this is case 2. So ETABS, what it is going to do when it will plot these two curves, there will be two different curves, although because the reinforcement arrangement is quite similar, it may not vary by a lot, but still there will be two different PM curves. Okay, and because there are two different PM curves, when it plots the respective P and M values, naturally there will be different interaction ratios that you get, and because of that there will be slightly different reinforcement requirement that ETABS is giving you. Okay, I hope this answer is clear. So this is the reason for the change in steel. I will not use the word increase, I'm using the word change. And can we provide 20 mm and 16 mm bar arrangement on two face, as we have only defined 16 mm bars in reinforcement settings? See, my suggestion to you in this case is that always try to provide the or define always try to define the reinforcement arrangement in ETABS. So whenever you are defining frame sections, you have the option of defining the reinforcement arrangement. So always try to define the same reinforcement arrangement in ETABS in terms of bar placement and dia. So you should try to define the same type of bar placement and dia that you are going to provide on site, or that you are actually going to provide in your design. So why so? Because ETABS, as I just explained, will be doing the calculation on the basis of the actual reinforcement arrangement and dia PM curve. So it is better that when you are defining the reinforcement arrangement, you try and define the same bar placement and dia that you are going to provide. Although you may change the bar dia, that means it's okay if you, let's say, define a 16 dia bar arrangement and provide a dia 20. That's fine, but try to keep at least the placement similar. That means if you are going to provide bars on only two faces in your actual design also, while defining it in ETABS, try to put the bars on two faces itself. Okay. Yeah. So this was what I had to tell you about your question. The next question is from Engineer Omkar Kulkarni. He is a working professional from Nagpur. He is saying, I have a steel framing query, and can I have a grid? I have also attached the image. Okay, let me also open the image. Maybe that will give us a better idea. Okay, it's not very helpful, I think. Okay, can I have a grid where the center line parallel to web? So he has a I-shaped column. Okay, this is the plan view of the column. Can I have a grid where the center line parallel to web y-axis is aligned perfectly, but the center line parallel to flange is out of axis by 300 mm? This way my primary beam connected to flanges of I section sits perfectly, but my secondary beam connected to webs of I section is eccentrically connected to columns. Yeah, you can do that. So what he's saying in plan, that his beam in the other direction is framing like this. So it's out by 300 mm, let's say, from the center, and along the y direction, or along this direction, his beam is perfectly in line. Okay, so this is his b1, this is his b2. B1 is perfectly concentric with the center line, and b2 is out of center, eccentric by around 300 mm. You can do that, yes. And why you can do that is, the reason is that because anyway this connection will be sort of a shear connection. So when it's a shear connection, no moments are getting transferred, only the axial loads are getting transferred. So the problem of eccentricity is not so much severe, okay, for the column as such. And anyway, this connection you may design if you want as a moment connection. So here, anyway, you are matching the center lines, so it's okay. Any special considerations needed? Not as such. Not as such. You may, uh, yeah, not as such. I have also the same concern for the bracings. So bracings again, if you are going to provide like this, in bracings you should be slightly careful. You should be slightly careful. Column is also eccentric. No, column is eccentric means eccentric with what? Here we are just talking about the beam column connection. What is the meaning of column is also eccentric? Here we are just discussing about the beam to column arrangement, framing. So with bracings, one parallel to web. This I am unable to understand what he means by column is also eccentric. I have attached two images. He has attached two images. Okay. So this is his second image. Yeah, column. You mean to say this column is eccentric? Is that what you're saying? I think what he's saying is that this column is eccentric with respect to whatever center line it. Okay, so that's what I'm answering. That see, this beam is in line with the web line, web center. This beam is in line with the web center. Here there is an eccentricity due to the minor axis beams. So we are just concerned about the beam to column connection. Okay, that's what I was answering. That because in the minor direction it's a shear connection. So even if there is, even if the beams are not in line with the web center along the minor direction, it's not a big issue. Okay, you know, need not be worried as such. uh, your major direction beams are anyway in line, which are, I believe, are going to be moment connections as you have designed them. So that is fine. These minor beams, even if they are not in line, it's okay. Okay, because anyway they are going to be shear connections. And bracings, I assume you are providing these plan bracings, or are these elevation bracings? So if they are elevation bracings, you need to be slightly careful. You need to be slightly careful because the elevation bracings are going to transfer their loads over here, which may cause what is called as a torsional flexural buckling in the columns. This sort of limit state check is not given in the Indian code, but you may find it in the AISC 360. AISC 360 gives you this torsional flexural buckling check when your bracings may transfer the forces which may create some torsional planned torsion effects in the column. Okay, so if this is the brace, this is the way where you have provided elevation bracings, you need to be slightly careful about the torsional flexural buckling limit state. Generally in columns we check only the flexural buckling, so I'm saying that you need to check for the torsional flexural buckling also. So there is a formula given in AISC 360 for this. You may be interested in looking at that. I think it is more details are given in the Annexure C, Appendix C, or you may just go to the chapter on compression. Uh, but usually it is observed that torsional flexural buckling may not be a critical limit state, but in your case, if these eccentricities are large and it is creating greater values of planned torsion, you might be wanting to check this. Okay, all right, so this is what I have to answer to your query. The next question is from Engineer Ravichandra. He is a working professional from Hyderabad. Safe deflection check is what he has written, and he has shared his query. I think he has shared some PDF also. So let me see what is the PDF. It is opening. So this is the first image he has shared, and then he has shared one more image. This is the basement slab. This is the basement slab which is exported from ETABS model in SAFE. In this SAFE model, we did not assign strips and perform long-term deflection. Here we got deflection 28 mm, which is within our limits. But what happened is, after assigning the strips, the deflection contours and values are changing drastically. No, that should not happen. There's no reason why that will happen. He's saying after assigning the strips, his deflection has changed to 35 mm. No, no reason for that. No reason why this should happen. Just understand that strips are nothing but only a tool whereby whereby the moments or forces are integrated by the software through whatever, I think, some wood armors integration process it uses. So no, you when you make strips, you're not making any changes to the model. Okay, when you make strips, you're not making any changes to the model. So whatever is happening only is is only at a superficial level, where you are just assigning or drawing strips to integrate the forces and movements. So making strips should not lead to any changes in the deflection. It should not happen. It will not happen. There must be some other change that is happening, because of which your deflection values are changing. You need to investigate that, but this will not happen. Okay. Yeah. So this was his question. Then next question is from engineer Aviral. How to decide column arrangement. He is a working professional from New Delhi. How to decide column arrangement for different spans in X and Y direction. Generally, it will depend on your usage, the architecture requirement, the forces, movements, etc. that you are getting. Okay. As per that, you may have to decide the column arrangement. How to decide which side would be greater in case of rectangular columns? Again, usually it will depend on the usage, the architectural requirement, display spanning requirements. If it's left only to you as a structural engineer, generally we try to orient our column in such a way that the longer side will be in the direction along which there are greater value of movements. So basically that means if my span is like this in plan view, if I have a span where this is the longer span I have and this is the shorter span, I would like to orient my column where the longer dimension is in this direction, because I can see that moments in this direction will be greater, and I may place my shorter direction in this where I can see that smaller movements will be there. So usually, if it is left to only structural engineers to decide the orientation, usually it may be done on the basis of the moment imbalance. In whichever direction you have a larger moment imbalance, you might want to provide the longer column dimension over there. So these things we have discussed in a lot of detail in our basic course that we have done. So if you want to understand these things in depth, you may be interested in having a look at our course. Okay. So you may just go to the basic course that we have conducted and it may interest you. All right. Okay. Then the next question is from engineer Akif. He is a working professional from India. So he's asking, with respect to class 7.3.3.3, IS 875 part 3 along with table 8 for the pressure coefficients. I am designing a solar mounting structure on rooftop with 5 degrees slope. If we have to consider the regular push and pull, can you please clarify my doubt? For wind loads acting in gravity direction, the coefficient for 5 degree slope is plus 0.4. So wind pressure into 0.4 will be acting downwards. While for pull, 5 degree slope considering solidity ratio is 1.1. Yeah, this is correct. This is how you need to do. Do we have to use overall coefficients every time? In which cases do we have to use the local coefficient? So see, usually you can use the overall coefficients. Local coefficients may be used when you have to design or check the connections. So because let's say you are going to connect this, uh, your solar panels will be connected to your main frame. So maybe at those edges, you might be wanting to check those connections, and for that you may look at the local coefficients. But otherwise, it is sufficient to just check your structure for the global coefficients only. Okay, so this is the right way that you are doing, assuming that you have followed the table or followed the table correctly. This is the way that you need to do. All right. Okay, so this was his question. Then, all right, so we have finished taking all the queries that were there on the Google form for this week. Now let us see if there are any queries from our live audience. So Rakshit is asking, what is the scope of AI in the field of structural engineering? How can AI be useful? So at this point in time, I am not much aware about what AI is able to do. So I may not be the best person to answer this question right now. But maybe as in all other fields, it can be the AI agent can be a good, let's say, a helping hand for your work. At this point in time, they may not be able to, the AI tools that we have, at this point in time at least, they may not be able to do all the work that you are doing as a structural engineer. In future, they may do that as well, but they may serve as a good assistant to whatever you are doing. But beyond that, I don't have much knowledge, so unable to provide uh, any further inputs as of now. Okay. So any other query? Because we have taken up all the queries that were there in the Google form and from the live audience and email also. Mr. Akif is asking, can you please just open once the table 8 from 875 part 3? You have to take the solidity ratio 1. Take the values corresponding to solidity ratio 1. Okay. Take the values corresponding to take the values corresponding to solidity ratio 1. Okay. Yes. Why we are taking 1, why we are not taking 0? Because by definition, what is the meaning of solidity ratio? That the area under obstruction divided by the total exposed area, isn't it? So because we have provided solar panels, the entire solar panel is covering the exposed area. That's why we are saying that solidity ratio will be 1. Here people have confusion because you may see sometimes they are taking the solidity ratio of 0, but that is not accurate, because if you look at the definition of solidity ratio, it is the area which is obstructing divided by the total exposed area or total area. So by that definition, solidity ratio will be 1, and that is the reason why I'm saying that take the ratios corresponding to, or take the wind coefficients corresponding to solidity ratio of 1. Okay. All right. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, we will close today's session. So as you all know that every weekend, once every weekend we meet, and you can put your queries throughout the week in the same Google form. And when we meet during the weekend, we take up your queries. Okay. We are soon going to start with a new course which will be on composite design, composite design of RCC plus steel structures. Okay. So this we will do as per the American code plus the Indian codes together. So the Indian code is IS 11384, and the American code, you do not have any separate code as such. You are supposed to use the same steel design code, AISC 360. So we'll be doing this course using both the standards, Indian as well as American. Uh, in this, we will be covering the design and detailing of composite beams, okay, composite slabs, and composite columns using manual calculations, Excel sheets, and ETABS. So ETABS, the updated ETABS has is able to design and detail as per the composite design codes. So we'll be using that. I was told that the recent update of STAD has also included the composite designs in it. I'm not sure if anyone has used it, but the latest update of STAD, which was brought out just last week, it has the composite design module also now introduced. Uh, Engineer Devendra Patidar is asking, is there any content available on AuxEn for PT beam design? No, not as of now. Engineer Abdul Salman Khan is asking how to clear LNT interview. You are applying as a GET, or I mean, you are applying for LNT straight out of engineering, or with experience you are applying? So I'm not sure, because if you are applying as a fresh graduate, as experienced, okay, then see, with L&T, what I have observed is that if they want to take you, they will take you. If they do not want to take you, they will uh, put 100 different reasons why they do not want to take you. So that way, they are quite a tricky company. But as an experienced person, if you're applying, maybe the things will be slightly different. So uh, I don't know. I have not. I have just sat in interviews couple of times, or three, four times. So maybe you can just brush up with whatever you have been doing. Okay, and you may revise what you have been doing as in your work. Just see what is the experience, or what is the field of work, or what are the roles and responsibilities that are being offered for the position for which you are applying at L&T. So maybe just try to study more about the roles and responsibilities, and then prepare yourself accordingly. That means if the role and responsibility involves, let's say, RCC design, then try to prepare more for the RCC design work. If the roles and responsibilities involve some other field of work, then try to prepare yourself more for it. But for better interview related guidance, what I will tell you is that you may contact Mr. Engineer Muhammad Atif. He is there on LinkedIn, and he is a working professional. Plus, he also uh, has this, or he is also involved in providing guidance for engineers in preparing for their interviews, etc. So you may contact him, Engineer Muhammad Atif. He is working at Atkins. You will find him on LinkedIn, and he will be able to better guide you, because he does this work professionally also. So this will be my suggestion: get in touch with him. You can, I think, drop him a message on LinkedIn, and I'm sure he will respond. Okay. All right. C for Civil is asking, hi, I am having a question that with PPC cement used in concrete, they make porosity problem. Please answer some problem in RCC work after deshuttering. PPC, I think the heat of hydration. In fact, what I have observed is the reverse, because in OPC I have observed more porosity problems, not with PPC, because leakage for slab member in PPC. I don't know, because I have observed reverse things while using the PPC. I mean, while using OPC, these things have been observed more. So I'm not able to answer it right now. Let's see. Anyone in the audience, if they want to answer? So I'm not sure about this answer right now. Yes, anyone in the audience, if they want to answer, they're welcome. Because I don't have the answer right now. Yes, anything else? Any other query? All right then. So this is all that we have for this week. You may continue to put your questions in the same Google form. The link remains the same, and I just put the link over here. And if you, Mr. Abdul is asking, Abdul Salman Khan is asking, is StatPro going out of market? I don't think it will go out of market, but it is not updating itself. So perhaps stat people have are not much interested in updating the software. So you do not get timely updates, and the whole process of using the software is slightly difficult because nowadays what stat is doing is that instead of updating itself, it just adds some plugins, or through third party software it will do some stuff. So it does not add to the user experience, and it's not enjoyable, I would say. But it's not going out of market. But definitely for RCC designs all over, uh, at least in India and some western countries, ETABS is the more preferred option, when at least when it comes to RCC designs and steel designs. Maybe in India, people still like to use steel designs in ETABS and steel design in STAD and RCC design in ETABS. So it will not go out of market, but it will keep on losing its relevance because ETABS is certainly the more updated and powerful software right now. Okay, all right. So this is the link for the Google form. You can continue to paste your queries, put your queries over here, and once every week when we meet, we take up your queries. If you want to connect with us on WhatsApp, this is the link to connect with us directly on WhatsApp. So that's all we have for this week. Uh, Funky Kiansh is asking, I have recently joined the PEB course. Can you please guide for downloading StatPro software? You may visit these websites that give you the links for downloading the software, or you can just write me a message on WhatsApp. I'll guide you. Okay, so this is the link if you want to connect with us directly on WhatsApp. So that's all we have for this week. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time now. Thank you so much, and bye bye.